I'd like to bring the Monday, July 17th, 2023 committee meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Dr. Witherspoon.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, by faxing notice of this meeting to the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on January 6, 2023, and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on January 9, 2023. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Schenker?
Here.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Here. Moment of silence for private reflection. Thank you. Guest presentations. We have an Excellence in Historic Preservation recognition for Stan and Stacy Weiner and Keith and Christine Boakes. Where are the, do we have the, do you have them? Okay, very good. I don't know if you want me to come down and read it? Okay. Okay, good evening. Tonight we are here to recognize two iconic buildings in Hamilton Township. The Champion House, also known as Boakes Funeral Home, was originally built circa 1860 as a dwelling and converted into a funeral home during the mid-20th century. Character-defining features are its Italianate characteristics, including the overhanging eaves with bracketed wood, I don't know, frieze. Yeah. Listen. Tall 8-light wood walkout windows with paneled wood shutters and molded lintels, and a double leaf wood panel door set with a wood surround with pilasters. Okay. 220, yeah, skip it. 225 Lenape Avenue is Stan and Stacy's house. That's it. Nah. Built circa 1900, represents residential development in Mays Landing during the early 20th century. In 1906, the subject is shown as a one-story building. By 1912, the one-story building was removed and a two-story building was constructed on the property. Sometime during the mid to late 20th century, the porch on the rear wings was enclosed. Defining elements of dwelling include its massing, gable end returns, and wraparound porch. As can be noted, each of these properties have maintained their stellar historical characteristics due to diligent attention made by their owners. This is very much appreciated, and the Hamilton Township Historical Preservation Commission would like to recognize the efforts of the owners and to thank them for adhering to the intent of the Historical District. Congratulations.
I need proof that I was here, not. I need proof I was here, not at the bar.
Good job. Good job. And in all honesty, both of those properties look fantastic. They both keep it up really, really nice. It's a pleasure when you drive by and see them and see how well maintained they are. I might as well just stay down there, right? Next, we have a proclamation for Connor O'Brien.
Carl, I got some bad news for you.
Connor.
I'm talking to Carl.
Oh, right.
See, he thinks he's the mayor.
Oh.
We just found out you
But
are
you're-
the mayor.
But you are the mayor.
You are the mayor. Yeah. I don't even know where to begin. We have a proclamation here that pretty much, I think, says it all about Connor. He's just simply a person who has a superpower, and his superpower is being kind and friendly and making sure everybody else likes each other, which we kind of need some of that today. So I'm going to read you this. This is for you, okay?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't kid about that. Whereas the Township of Hamilton Township has continually encouraged community engagement and participation and looked to acknowledge good citizenship by its residents wherever possible. And whereas the governing body seeks to celebrate Disability Pride Month, the month of July, by recognizing an outstanding role model within the township, particularly one who is rising above any challenges to serve the greater good of their neighborhood and community. Whereas Connor O'Brien, 22-year-old resident of Morningside Drive of Hamilton Township, has illustrated exemplary outreach along his street, conducting continual wellness checks on neighbors and their pets on a weekly basis. And whereas Connor is known for encouraging happiness, good health, camaraderie, and similar good citizenship along his street, lifting the spirit of Morningside Drive with his pleasantry, friendliness, and optimism. Whereas the governing body of Township Committee of Hamilton Township concurs that Connor O'Brien illustrates all the characteristics of outstanding citizenship, most especially his genuine concern for his family, friends, neighbors, pets, and animals, and their ability to coexist in harmony. Whereas the Township of Hamilton Committee would like to encourage others to emulate the outstanding behavior and outreach of Connor O'Brien in their interaction with their own neighbors and community. Whereas because his kind, heartfelt outreach, Connor O'Brien has been dubbed the mayor of Morningside Drive, and his neighbors wish to officially declare him as their street's mayor, and have bestowed by resolution by the Township Committee of Hamilton Township, New Jersey. Whereas the governing body of Township Committee of Hamilton Township does hereby agree that Connor O'Brien illustrates all the characteristics of outstanding citizenship, and due to his efforts, he has improved the quality of life for those in his direct and surrounding neighborhood of Morningside Drive. Now, therefore, we, sworn members of the Hamilton Township Committee, Mays Landing, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Connor O'Brien to be honorary mayor of Morningside Drive in perpetuity, as established this day. It's the 17th of July in the year 2003.
23.
Has anybody ever run against him, or you guys actually have an election?
Congratulations.
Yeah, unless you want to say a few words.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
I began moving in this new neighborhood since 2019, after I graduate high school. I'm the mayor of Morningside Drive for my proud parents, Valerie O'Brien and Sean O'Brien. And I met a few neighbors, Beth and Jim and their dog Jackson, Jan Nichols and Kevin with their cat Kiwi, the Rocaps and their pets. Jeremy and Kat and their son Max and their dog Sochi. Sue Hopkins and their dogs Rebel and Rosie. The Gorbigs, the Bugdens has 2 dogs. The Cohens has a dog named Chi-Chi. The Warehouses has a lot of cats. And the Merlios has 2 dogs. And I'm dedicated to my brothers, Michael and Jack. My brother Michael is in Connecticut, and my little brother Jack is a 12th grade year in Oak Crest High School, and he's a senior.
That was great. All right, we're done for tonight. I say we leave on this good note.
Not
And
getting any better, I can tell you that.
Yep.
If I may, Mayor, I want to thank those who brought this to our attention.
They're all leaving.
yeah, you have your own mayor. You're gone. I understand. You try again, Mark.
No, I'm good.
Good. Late agenda items.
Hi, Mr. Foster.
I feel unloved right now. They all just left. Thanks. Thanks, Roy.
All right. Addition, deletion of late agenda items to be considered for action tonight.
I would like to make a motion that we accept executive session, but not accept 6C as an addition.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Early public comment on agenda items, excluding items listed for public hearings. Brett, do we have anybody?
We have no one signed up.
Outstanding. Moving on. Discussion, formal action may be taken. Oh. Sorry, I kind of fell behind here because I was up there gabbing. Burn Factory Incorporated proposed Class 1 cannabis cultivation establishment, 7317 Black Horse Pike. You guys are going to give your presentation?
Yes,
Okay, very good. Floor is yours.
thank you very much. Hello, my name is Ryan Murphy of 96 Armour Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. I'm here today to talk about the plan for the redevelopment of 7317 Black Horse Pike. So this presentation is going to cover a few things, namely who we are, the site in question, what we're planning to do with it, and the benefits we expect to the community. So who we are, there's Justin Anacone. He grew up in town, is a registered CPA, has worked as a finance manager in the past, and is currently operating Jean's Farm and Garden Center alongside his parents. He also has more than 20 years of experience working there, and is the chief operating officer of the Burn Factory. Maureen is the managing editor of L'Oreal Beauty magazine and is Justin's longtime girlfriend since 2016. Maureen and her brother Ed have experience growing cannabis in a licensed facility out of state. Burn Factory is currently being represented by a law firm that specializes in cannabis licensing. That's where I come in. And we are proposing a new building at 7317 Black Horse Pike, which you probably know better as Jean's Farm and Garden Center. Jean's Farm has been here for multiple generations. It's family owned and operated, and it has been for 70 years. Gene Anacone is Justin's father. The address is zoned highway commercial, and you know the area, so you'll know that it's on a busy stretch of road, but there are no pedestrians, even with lots of cars going by. Here's another way to think about the location of the site. The green star, I'm not sure if you can all see that, green star towards the bottom of the screen, is 7317 Black Horse Pike, and the green rectangle around it shows the Anacone's property. See it? What we're planning to do on that site is operate a licensed New Jersey Class 1 cannabis cultivation facility. That means that we would be growing cannabis. We received a conditional license from the state of New Jersey on December 2nd, 2022. The Class 1 license only allows for growing the cannabis. We wouldn't be processing it or selling it, and because we have that Class 1 license, we can't get other classes of license. It will only ever be growing here. So what does that growing look like? It's a form of careful gardening, which we will then sell the products of to licensed processors and retailers. All of this is going to be taking place inside a new 0.23 acre building on site, which is a metal grow house. This is not a greenhouse, it's a grow house. It will have metal sides and no markings on them, so you won't be able to tell what's going on inside. The building will be set back from the outside in the much larger 17.49 acre area owned by the Anacones, so no one else is going to be getting too close. Of course, we fully intend to comply with all local ordinances and the terms of the redevelopment plan that we work out. So what does growing cannabis look like? For us, it'll look like growing flowers. We'll be growing the plants inside individual containers so we can control the entire environment for each plant. We'll only give them what we want to give them, and they'll only give us what we want them to. The indoor process means that this entire thing will be safe and discreet. There's no real risk of chemical runoff because all of the plants are going to be in these individual pots. The fertilizer will go in those pots. The water that we give them will be coming from wells currently located on site that have been used to grow flowers for the past 70 years. While cannabis does have an odor as it grows, we'll be using an odor management system which is highly effective. There will be an HVAC system with HEPA filters, which is what they use in hospitals, and the entire facility will use negative pressure, which is what they use in quarantine rooms in hospitals to make sure nothing bad gets out. It means scents will not escape, and we'll be having that tested regularly by a third party selected by the town. We also want to add that growing cannabis is not like growing wheat or potatoes. This is a crop with small yields. So though we're going to be next to a major road and you won't notice additional traffic, there won't be additional traffic. We're not going to be sending trucks running back and forth all the time. Everything that is produced in a year could fit in the back of one truck, and when deliveries are made, it'll be in small, unmarked Sprinter vans. With that said, we are growing a high-value commodity, so we'll be taking appropriate precautions. There won't be any external markings explaining what is happening inside the building to avoid attracting attention. We'll also be hiring a security team to put in video cameras all over the site. We're happy to share the footage from those cameras directly with the police, and if there's interest, we can work that out with the chief. Finally, we should note, again, Justin's experience growing flowers on site. We believe it's transferable to cannabis flowers. We think we have what it takes to make this business work. We're here today seeking to enter a redevelopment agreement. We're excited about the redevelopment process. I know it doesn't always sound like it, but we are, because we want to be an open book. We're here to tell you everything we can about the business, so you feel assured that we have plans to run it successfully, both for us and for the community. As part of that, we want to get community input and be part of Hamilton's redevelopment. On that note, here are some of the specific benefits we anticipate from the project. With redevelopment approval, Burn Factory can get to work. Once its business is a bit more established, then it would seek to expand with the hope of finding employees locally. There will be additional revenue for the town as a result. And lastly, because of our sustainable practices, Burn Factory will be able to serve as a safe, dependable, and local source of cannabis for the other cannabis businesses that you've approved in town, which should help to strengthen those businesses and the people who benefit from them. Thank you very much for listening to our proposal. We'd be happy to try to answer any questions at this time.
Me?
Did you say that your HVAC system runs at a negative pressure?
Would you like to answer that? So there is a negative pressure system, and there's also the HVAC system, which
Okay.
They're not quite the same, but they are connected and both help to manage the odors.
Okay. So how do we establish negative pressure?
I'm not sure what the technical details are. Do you know?
We didn't come here with specific details on all the engineering and things of that nature, but we can speak to that.
building that is being constructed will have almost a building within a building. So it's the space, the building itself, there will be almost like a building within a building.
Okay.
So the space in between is where you can establish the negative pressure so that it doesn't escape the boundaries of the facility.
Okay.
Anybody else from committee?
So I think one of
Yeah, did you say there would only be one truck going and collecting this cannabis? Is that what you said?
The point I was making was because when you harvest cannabis, you're only taking such a small part of the flower. It's just, you're just trying to make an example that you could fit all of the product into a truck. We're just trying to make a point that it's not like a blueberry farm where you have, 40 tractor trailers daily coming in and out, creating a lot of activity. It's just a small harvest, so it's I'm not. Maybe it'll be 2 vans. I don't know, but it's a very low quantity of product that you end up harvesting. So, again, it's not a high traffic result of a harvest like you would see on Weymouth Road right now with blueberries.
Would that be year round?
There would be multiple grow cycles because it's indoors. You're creating your own environment in there. So if you had, let's say, 90-day grow cycles from seed to harvest, you could have 4 cycles in a year. So maybe 4 harvests. That's all TBD, depending on the weather and what we really want to do once we see how it goes.
Would you distribute, are you part of the distributing of this to other cannabis entities?
So yeah, the harvest would be done on site, and then it would go directly to a dispensary or directly to a licensed manufacturer where they would just take the raw product and turn it into whatever cannabis product,
How many people will you be employing?
Our estimate right now would be around 5, so a few growers, trimmers. It'll be a tight group initially, and if we can get multiple harvests, everything's going well. Maybe it'll expand from there, but my estimate off the bat would be around 5 employees just to start. Myself would be there full time, and
Are you going
other
to
local
employ women as well?
of course, yeah. We're
There's a requirement for like 50%, or what is the requirement?
Sure. So New Jersey has different classifications for ways that people can get cannabis licenses. This isn't classified as a majority women-owned business, and so it doesn't have that legal requirement.
Oh, okay.
That said, we're happy to hire women. Women make great employees, just like that.
I can vouch that my mother is probably the best farmer I know, so female hands are better in the garden, from my experience.
Will your parents be?
Yes, and obviously my girlfriend, Maureen, who's
Okay,
the owner, is part of the company.
very good.
Now, with a 90-day grow cycle, I'm
Yes.
sure you'll have staggering grow cycles, so you'll have constant flow of deliveries and pickups. I mean, you're not gonna go 90 days, empty out the place, go another 90 days, correct?
It depends. You could have starter plants that then you could sell to other grow places, so they could be in and out quicker than if you're taking something all the way to harvest. But again, it's to have multiple sets. You'd have to partition off the grow, so you'd have like one quarter of the building is in a cycle, and then the other quarter of the building might be 4 weeks further ahead. So yes, to answer that question, you could have multiple
Would you have
cycles at
multiple
once. Eventually, but off the bat, you know, just trying to really nail down our process, make sure we can put out a quality product. So that'll be my focus at first, and then if we think we can handle having plants at different stages at once, that could be happening, yes.
Well, I think one of the biggest concerns of anybody who has concern about places like this is the odor.
Yep.
So, you know, we want to make sure that if we move forward with this, that if there's a complaint, that you guys will address it immediately.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're aware of, you know, the ordinance that exists. You know, we have 48 hours to address anything, but
Okay.
our goal is to prevent anything like that. And to take that a step further, you know, with the farm market right there, my goal is for customers to walk in and around, continue to buy their peaches and tomatoes and not even notice there's a grow facility there.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's my personal goal, and then obviously, yes, I'm
But
aware.
it's your mom's goal too,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just reiterate what Committeeman Schenker said. It's our license that's going to be introduced tonight. Basically says if you can't control the odor and it's a continuing problem,
Yep,
we can shut you down, and that's it. Done.
fully aware of that, and like, we'll be, you know, doing everything we can to prevent that.
Okay.
Anybody else with any questions?
Do you have a,
This isn't, this. It's not public. But I'll ask. Noise factor, I mean, I'm sure all the HVAC units, they make noise. We've come a long way through the years.
Yeah.
But that will be another issue. But I do know also in the ordinance, we do have noise ordinances, and I believe in the, Phil, I'm going to ask you, I mean, I read through it, but I might be thinking about other ordinances that we have, but I believe it does talk about noise. Nonetheless, we have noise ordinances, yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
another,
It's in
que-
there. Yes, it's in there.
another question? Do you have a backup generator in case the electricity is compromised?
Right now, no. It would be part of, you know, the site plans to potentially put that in,
Okay.
just,
Because we do have strange weather happening. So,
yeah. Else?
Anything else? It's not for public. You're going to have to wait until the end when there's public comment. I'm sorry. No, somebody behind you was raising their hand. Okay. So we have a resolution of the Township of Hamilton, Atlantic County, State of New Jersey, appointing conditional redeveloper and authorizing entering an escrow agreement with Burn Factory. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second? Second. I hear a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
yes,
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
now we must, emphasize that this is one step according to the flow chart. So there will be several steps after that
Absolutely.
to, maintain that it conforms to planning, and I believe it does at this point conform to zoning. so.
Yes. Is your microphone on?
There it is. Just as a reminder also, as Mrs. Link said, this is just one step. They will be back here once as we finish up the redevelopment agreement, the negotiation of that. You folks are going to have to approve it. So again, that's something that will be done in this forum, and that's before they would get to the planning board at all. So, many more steps to go, yes.
Very good, thank you. Moving on, public hearing adoption of ordinances, we have none. Introduction of ordinances, the public hearing will be held on August 17th, 2023. 5A, ordinance establishing provisions for the licensing and regulation of cannabis establishments. Phil, you want to give us a little bit of a background with this?
Thank you, Mayor. When the township voted to go ahead and participate in the cannabis program, one of the things we wanted to make sure is that we had a stake in, with our own licensing process and procedures to, so we could focus on things at a local level that might not necessarily be picked up at the state level. And before I go any further, this is Nick, sorry.
Nick Ranieri, I'm with Maley Givens. We are redevelopment counsel to the township.
Neither Jim Maley or Emily could be here tonight, so Nick is sitting in. One of the things we've worked on and we've modeled using other ordinances from around the area, rather than reinventing the wheel, was a process that's straightforward. These are the procedures you go through as far as our local application process, the information that needs to be provided, which I believe for the most part closely mirrors what has to be provided for state licensing. So, again, not duplicating, coming up with new work for folks to do. It's just taking what they've already got and providing that to us. This also includes provisions for enforcement procedures by the township on certain things. And we do have spelled out here, be it issue of nuisance, we have standards of contact, require testing for what are considered malodors. Again, nuisances, which is the noise, emission of odors. In some cases, on-site restrictions. In the case of a retail establishment, prohibiting any sort of repackaging, opening up packages, or consumption of cannabis on site, anywhere on site, not just in the building, anywhere in the parking lot, et cetera. Possession or sale by persons under age 21 legal age, and even standards, prohibiting private cultivation. So, again, we've tried to be very thorough with this ordinance to cover all the bases, and I know that the chief did have an opportunity to review it, and Greg, I don't believe you had any, you saw the thumbs up, so we're okay there. It also includes, obviously, application fees and licensing fees that would have to be paid. And I anticipate this working in conjunction with the state licensing, so that when somebody files their application for a state license, we're pretty much on the same time schedule they would also file here with the township. We can go through our review as quickly as possible and get that action taken care of, in which case, if this committee acts and grants a license before the state does, it would be a conditional license until such time as the state issues theirs. And then automatically they would be in sync, so that if their license expires on July 17th, 2024 with the state, same would our license would also expire at the same time. And on renewals, we're keeping the same time schedule with that. Applications 90 days in advance, so that internally, we've got more than adequate time to complete any reviews.
Very good. Thank you. I spent some time going through this, and it's very extensive. It's obviously it's meant to protect the neighbors, the town itself, make sure that the licensee does what they're supposed to do. And if they don't, as I said earlier, we can pull their license, and that'll be it. So I just want people, I hope people understand, you know, we are definitely in uncharted waters. None of these have opened up in our township yet. So I'm very anxious to see something open up and see how it works. And there's, you know, there's different types. There's, you know, production, you know, growing it, there's selling it, there's packaging it. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a learning curve. And like I said, this is to protect us. And the good thing is 2% tax comes to the township. So hopefully that makes this all worthwhile. But it's not just about money. It's also about the quality of life of everybody in town. We don't want the quality of life to drop just because we're getting some revenue. You know, we want things to stay the same, almost like they're not even here. You know, it'd be great if we don't even know that they're there. And hopefully listen to what they have to say tonight. That's obviously what their plan is. I'm sure your parents would be a little upset if they lose a lot of their, you know, I shop there, you know, a lot of people shop there. You know, if there's a bad odor, I'm sure they're not going to like it. So I'm sure you're going to do everything you can not to let that happen. So, do I hear a motion moving this?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do we have to do the motion first?
We should do the motion first, yes.
So,
Do I have a second?
second.
Motion and a second. What do you have a comment?
Yes, did.
I do, okay.
On the ordinance, B under purpose, I just wanted to know how would the residents of Hamilton Township be provided an opportunity, according to this agreement, the ordinance, to participate within this new industry while advancing community development initiatives, including but not limited to social justice, related programming, job training, enhanced recreational opportunities, public health, and drug prevention education and/or support thereof. So I wanted to know how would a person that has a business, how would they include the residents and citizens in Hamilton Township?
Ms. Witherspoon, as part of our RFQ process, that's one of the things we ask them to identify. You know, identify what groups do you think you're going to be working with? What sort of things are you going to be looking at? So that's something that from day one.
That's the questionnaire that they fill out that gets graded, correct?
No, it's not,
That's-
well, it's
part of
the
that.
whole qualifications response, yes. That, you know, they have to tell us up front from, again, the first time they submit something. Yeah, we're going to work with support recreation through the MLA, you know, committing, having our employees make presentations to the local schools. There's various things that each individual business will do. I mean, you've already heard the thing there. He needs at least 5 people to start.
I just wanted to make sure that part was not left out.
Oh, no.
While we're talking about the fees and license, that this is another part of this ordinance.
Yes.
That I wanted to make sure that everybody was fully aware of.
Oh, yes, and I think that's the one thing that the township has been from the get-go with this. I mean, every procedure, every ordinance that we've worked on, everything that's going on, we're layering things. You know, the same items may be repeated in this ordinance that was in the standards which created the zones where you're allowed to have cannabis facilities. So we're trying to maintain that consistency so that it doesn't get lost as you go through the process.
I just have one other question in reference to this ordinance that we talked about.
Yeah.
Which is on the micro business, which I understand that Burnt Factory is not a micro business. When we talked about that, when we talked about the ordinance itself, it says that in the 5th paragraph with micro businesses, and it talks about no more than 1,000 pounds of unusable cannabis.
I think that says usable cannabis.
Usable cannabis?
Yes.
I'm sorry, usable. So I wanted to know how much was 1,000 pounds?
Half of an elephant.
Half of an elephant.
Half a ton.
That was my only question.
Not the same as 10 pounds of feathers.
Okay, because I know
Yeah,
you said that.
yeah,
You get more than that per month or per
Yeah.
sale per month. So you know, what was that equivalent to?
About how much, let me ask an expert. Put him on the spot.
People usually buy eighths of ounces, and so it's enough, to run a business. It's a lot. This is retail, right?
Yeah. Well, any micro business, that's the limit.
Okay, any micro business, so you'll be growing a lot less. It starts off very heavy, once you water those plants, but when you dry it, it's unusable. Usable cannabis is after it's been cured, dried, possibly processed, and it just weighs a lot less at that point. Because it's either a concentrate or it's flour, or a pre-roll or something.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Judy?
Yes, I like the coordination with a state license and a license locally. I'm still not in agreement with all of our township being under redevelopment, but that simply said, because everything sort of ties into that whole amendment. So I will vote yes, because it is something the state has allowed us to do. But I'm saying that I'm really dead set against, or not in agreement with, the whole township being under redevelopment. So.
I think we're good. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Public hearing set for August the 7th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 5B, introduction of ordinance 2051-2023, an ordinance amending Article 10 of Chapter 167 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, Vital Statistics.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and introduced.
5C, ordinance 2052-2023, an ordinance amending Article 1, Chapter 163 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, amending certain portions thereof pertaining to fees for excavations in streets.
Motion.
I
Second?
have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and introduced.
Bids, contracts, change order. 6A, award of contract for purchase of a Ford E450 Type 3 base ambulance remount from VCI Emergency Vehicle Specialist through the Houston-Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program in the amount of $209,909.35. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second.
Question.
I have a question.
Was this put out on bid?
It was done through the Houston Galveston Co-op.
Okay.
And do we have it in the budget?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
absolutely.
This is where we're refitting a ambulance, correct? Where
Yes.
A new one would be upwards of
Yep.
400,000.
Basically taking the glider and putting a box on top of it.
We started doing this a few years ago to try and save some money. Instead of every 2 years, we were buying new ambulances, and then we started finding out that it's the box part that gets out of date and doesn't pass, the levels that the state wants you at, but the truck is fine. So in order to save a little money, this is what we started doing.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
6B, resolution approving proposed agreement between the Township of Hamilton and Atlantic County for the September 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2025 Municipal Alliance Youth Leadership Agreement Grant and authorizing mayor to sign same.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek? Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Approve change order number 2 for bid number 2022-09 to Peterson Service Company for heating. Oh, I'm sorry. We tabled that. Boy, I'm in such a rush, trying to get through this. Don't slow down now, right? Consent agenda. We have A through, I take that back. We have B through H. I. B through I. B, because there's nothing for, there's no business registrations.
I'll make that motion.
Motioning B through I.
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it.
I would like to point out that these two properties that need to have us come in and take away their trash and maintain their property is much in need by seeing what the properties look like, and that it is a lien that will be against their property if they go to sell it as well.
Yes, I believe 6211 Oliver, this will be the second time, right? So it's going to start building up.
How many tons of trash do they have to take away, Brett?
Oh,
How many tons of trash do they have to take away from the one site?
We're not sure yet.
no idea.
Maybe the ton, you can explain to Thelma what a ton is like.
That wasn't my question.
So what was your question?
My question was, how many tons of material have been taken away from that site? And, just, and it,
Right now, we're estimating around 40 yards,
40 yards?
but that's just an estimate until we actually remove the material.
And this has occurred before?
This is the first time.
It's the
we-
first time
It's
with
the
that
first time
residence.
for that one?
Yes.
Well, I think this is much needed, and I apologize if I...
Moving on, 8A. Resolution to rescind offer of employment to Brolin Morendel Cruz as a full-time regular laborer.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? 8B, appointment of Nijan Isam as full-time police officer for the police department, effective date to be determined.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Moving on, approvals. Minutes, regular meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. Bills, bill list total, $842,331.74.
So moved.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon? Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Reports. Mr. Administrator.
I just want to note that the auction for our former MUA building on Ken Skull is scheduled for the 20th at 11 a.m. and the starting bid is $175,000. Just wanted to remind everyone. Also, I wanted to give a brief update on the municipal tax rate, and I was going to ask Bill Johnson to come up and
Bill, come on down. You're the
Give us
next contestant.
just give us a quick rundown of what's in the rate and how it was calculated this year.
So, as the governing body may be aware, the county struck our tax rate last week. We got it late day Friday. I don't have the tax rate with me. I was here to talk about the
Can you
Can you hear him?
pull that up? I guess get that up a little bit higher, or?
I didn't
Speak
bring the
right
tax
in.
rate with. I didn't
There
bring
you
the
go.
tax rate with me.
Perfect.
So, so the tax rate came in at 3.394 per $100 of assessed value. It's roughly a 17-cent overall tax increase, and that is the four government entities. That's the local municipality, local regional school, and then also the county. Just county and regional schools, because they represent many districts, they equalize values and budgets in order to bring everybody up to a level playing field. The idea of equalizing is to bring everybody to 100%. So even though the county had touted a flat budget with no increases, we ended up seeing, in our rate, we ended up seeing an increase of about 6 cents, I believe it was, overall. 6 cents from the county, but that was through equalization. Yeah. Any
I'm
questions?
looking through. I don't think I printed out.
Ooh, it has that.
So the county is about 6 cents.
Yeah.
I have that. The county was about, was 6 cents. Ours was,
And again, I thought I was here to talk about how the county presented their budget through equalization, so I didn't bring the exact
Okay.
figures for the breakdown of the.
Gotcha.
I didn't think I was talking about the
nope.
general tax rate itself.
That's fine. I just want people to understand. 'Cause
Yeah,
I know there
it
were
was,
rumors out there that the county's rate was gonna actually drop.
Well, because of equalization.
But because of equalization, it
So even if the county budget
doesn't.
remained exactly the same, because of dropping ratios, they take the budgets, they apply the ratio into them, and they equalize it. So if you have a low ratio, it makes your taxable value higher. So when they go through the equalization process, the lower your ratio, you're responsible for a bigger portion of that overall budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, I apologize, I wasn't prepared to
No,
speak
no,
on
no.
the overall rate, so.
That's kind of what I wanted. I wanted people to understand a little bit, because like I said, things were being said that the county tax rate wasn't gonna move, it might go down a little bit, and then we get hit with, well, guess what? For Hamilton Township, it's going up 6 cents.
Right, and that was through the equalization
Yes.
process, right?
So that's in addition
To our revenue.
to what we've done.
Yes, and in addition to the regional school and the local school, everything went up.
What,
It won't be 3 cents then. What are the residents looking at?
Well, he came just to talk about what the county was doing.
Yeah, the
That's-
overall increase itself was 16.8 cents, almost 17 cents. So it would be about say $170 per $100,000 of assessment.
And also the regional, did that go up too, the schools?
Yeah, like,
All four government entities saw increases, yes, in the rate.
I just asked him to talk about the county thing.
I-
That's it. And that's
I
all he's prepared to
didn't-
do.
I didn't bring those.
Didn't bring that
I
stuff.
didn't bring that stuff, no. You have that email?
The local increase, which is our governing, our budget, is a 5.8 cent tax increase. The local school is a 1.7, almost 2 cents, and the regional school is a 0.3, so 3 cent increase. And then with the county, it's 6.3, so 6 cent increase. Overall, 16.8.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Any other questions?
Nope. Drop and run. Mr. Administrator, anything else?
That's all I have. Thanks, Bill.
Mr. Solicitor?
Was.
There you go.
There we go. Just for the record, I want to say, reporting that there's a number of properties under signed agreements from the Industrial Commission in the Hamilton Business Park. The 98-acre parcel, which is Lot 991, Lot 3, is under contract with National Land Developers, LLC, for $3,025,000. We have another property at Block 991, Lot 33. It's a contract with ACR Logistics, LLC. Again, it's a property in the Hamilton Business Park for a purchase price of $137,950. We have another contract with All Zone Holdings, LLC, Block 991, Lot 34, for a purchase price of $159,030. We also have one with the entity is Atlantic Avenue Hamilton, LLC, Block 994.01, Lot 6, for a purchase price of $620,000. And the fifth and final property under contract is with Happy Air LLC, Block 994.04, Lot 1, for a purchase price of $84,940. So quite a bit of revenue coming in. They've been very busy doing a lot of good work over there.
As long as we could close them.
Correct.
Yeah, are these all contingent on, the planning board, certain
Yes.
requirements?
So there is some due diligence built in. We've shortened up those timeframes. We've tightened up those timeframes. So depending on the contract, I think they're between 60 and 90 days. So we're trying to put a shorter leash on these. But, all in all, it's looking pretty good right now.
Do they have to put deposits down on this, or no?
Yes, they have deposits in there.
Okay.
Very good.
There's also, I know in at least one of the contracts, there's some benchmarks that they have to meet by certain dates, and if they don't meet those benchmarks by that date, they forfeit some of that deposit. So we've put in some incentives to try to make sure these get to closing this time, because we know there have been some issues in the past. I can't speak to all the contracts, but certainly on the major one.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Engineer?
Good evening, Mayor, board members. We submitted a hot topics list this afternoon. Just wanted to highlight a couple items, particularly the road programs. We did have a pre-con meeting with Arawak Paving for all 4 projects. Just again, they're the road program Phase 2, 2022 municipal aid of Atlantic Avenue, 2022 local freight of Atlantic Avenue, Phase 3, and 2023 municipal aid, New York Avenue, Phase 5. The pre-con meeting was last week, and They are anticipating to start concrete and storm sewer work next week, as soon as. And also, we gave them, not a strict, but trying to make them move quicker on New York Avenue to have it done before school starts. So we're going to work with them to move that along as quickly as possible. The next item that was highlighted was the bids are out for the Leapy Field concession stand rebid, as well as the parking lot contract as well for reconstruction. Those bids are actually going to be advertised in tomorrow's paper, July 18th, and the bid date is August 11th. And hopefully, if the bids come in, within the budget, they can be awarded as soon as the next meeting, the second meeting in August. Lastly, is we did get a response, and I don't know if anybody saw, they did start doing some mowing around the basins at Hamilton Mall. They're moving a little slow, but we'll stay on them. They will not get a bond released until everything is met. So just to let everybody know that. So from engineering, that is it. I do have one thing to mention as a resident and a baseball coach for Mays Landing. The Atlantic Shore West 13U team won the state championship last week. They are going to be playing in the Mid-Atlantic Regional this Thursday. If they win the regionals, they will be making it to the World Series. So just to cheer them on and make sure.
Very good. That it? Very
That is
good.
it.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the Hamilton Mall, if they get done the mowing and whatnot, do they then have to continue a year's worth of maintenance before the maintenance bond's released?
I have to recheck how that was written with the maintenance agreement, but I believe they would have to maintain it no matter what. And if we ask them to do the maintenancing and they don't respond, a letter will come out, and we could put a lien on the property until they maintain it properly as they're supposed to.
Yeah, their past history, they haven't
I
maintained.
agree 100% on
But
that.
at one time, you don't get the money back.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Continual maintenance.
Very good. Township Committee members, we'll start with Mr. Schenker.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to report that they had the Dragon Boat races, not this weekend past, but the one before. It was well-attended. I haven't been to many events that have had that many cars. There was a lot of people. County did a really nice job with the park, so I think that made it a little more enjoyable for everybody. And I'm happy to report that most of the group that you saw here tonight from Morningside, the Morningside Mayhem was their team name, that they won, what was it, Carl, all the club level and others, community level.
They had the fastest time out of everybody.
Yep, yep.
All levels.
They,
which is
they
pretty
even,
impressive.
They even beat the Philadelphia Police Department's team, so, we were kind of excited about that. Just saying. Whatever. Make whatever excuse you want, Chief. They lost. I had the absolute pleasure of attending Darren Drozdoff's memorial, and it was moving. It was, didn't really know Darren, but I'll tell you after that, you really knew him, the way people talked about him and the type of person he was. Again, we need more people like that around. Also, just want to remind everybody, National Night Out's coming up. Looking forward to that. And other than that, that's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Dr. Witherspoon.
All right, just have one announcement to let everyone know that the Flying Knights participated in the 2023 AAU Club National Championship in Florida, and they came in. So we have now all track and field All-American winners from our township. Naomi Laws, she competed and she ran second place in the 200 meters. She placed second place in the 400 meters, and also with her team, I just wanted to say, relay team was comprised of Destiny, Isaiah, and Kamadi. They also ran their fastest time of the season. They placed third, and that's in the nationals, and that was last weekend in Florida. So I just wanted to make that announcement.
Very good.
Very good. Mr. Cheek?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the U13 baseball team. That's quite an achievement, and it shows everyone where our youth are. Also, National Night Out is August 1st, and hope to see everyone, including the crew that was here earlier today. So hopefully we get a good show after that. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Link?
I was also in attendance to Darren Drostov's celebration of his life, and it was extremely impressive, especially his attitude as he endured being a paraplegic for 19 years and still had a very positive attitude. I did speak to a caretaker who worked for Dr. Larakis, and she was one of his caretakers for the 19 years that he endured. But he was always very positive and very upbeat, and nothing bothered him. He just, if something was negative, he says, well, we'll deal with that. We'll move on. And that's how he, apparently lived his life, which was very inspiring. We can all deal with, that positive nature. And, I was really impressed. So I would say in attendance, there must have been about 300 or 400 people there. And I noticed in the driver's license of the cars, they were from Illinois, they were from all over the United States that came to, celebrate his life. What a testimony, and he was from our area, which puts us on the map, I believe, with a lot of people. And of course, we have the National Night Out coming up August 1st, and hopefully no rain, no tornadoes, or whatever. What did he say?
He said you jinxed us.
No, it'll be just fine. And one of our competitors at the South Jersey Figure Skating Club competed today in free dance, and I haven't heard the result, but she's a wonderful young lady. She's only 16, but she's been studying this since she was 9 years old, and I just hope that she places in nationals. And that's about it.
Very good, thank you. Just like everybody else, National Night Out, August 1st, Tuesday night. Be there or be square. Coming up on this Saturday at Legends Boxing over in the festival, they're having a boxing tournament. They tried to do this a few weeks ago, but had some issues, so it was rescheduled for this Saturday coming up at 2 p.m. They invited me there, and I didn't know that it was canceled, so I went, and it's quite an impressive gym. Pretty neat what they have going on there, and they really focus on the youth, and it was pretty neat. So they're having their tournament on Saturday, 2 p.m. I know there's a cost to go in and watch, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. I will be in Cleveland watching the Phillies play the Indians. I'm not going to call them the Guardians. They're still the Indians to me. So I'll be out in Cleveland. I was kind of bored and said, hey, kids, let's go to Cleveland. Yeah. Now it's my quest. Reagan and I want to see the Phillies in every stadium, so we're getting back on that quest again. And then to touch on the Darren, on his services yesterday, it was really nice to see the Oakcrest football players showed up yesterday. There was about a dozen of them. And one of the fellows that spoke, Billy Daughtry, what he said really resonated with me, and it's the fact that Darren Drozdoff graduated from Oakcrest in 1987, and he still has an effect on Oakcrest, especially the football program, also basketball and track. And I think that's going to be forever. Obviously now, because they started a fund, the Drozdoff, I think they changed it now, it's the Drozdoff Bottinger. It's not Bottinger's not involved. Either way, whatever. It's the Darren Drozdoff Scholarship Fund. Please, if you're on Facebook, look on it and donate if you can. If you're a fellow Falcon, please donate. I'm sure down the road there's going to be golf outings. There's going to be it might not be designer bag bingo. It might be guys fishing gear bingo. But we're going to do something to keep this going and remember Darren. And see if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it. Public Works is working on something. Not going to say what it is. It's going to be a surprise for everybody. But I think everybody's going to like what they're going to see. It'll be probably about 2 weeks away. Excuse me? So that's coming up, and that's it. Open it up for public comment. Darren was from, well, he kind of floated around. He was early time. He was Morningside Drive. And I gotta leave it with Reagan. I'll see you soon, Maddie. I miss you. I love you. I hope to see you soon. Public comment? Come on down.
Just to let you know, I'm a little deaf, so
What?
hard to hear you a bit. I got a comment about the burn factory.
Can you state your name just for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry, sure. John Hogan.
Very good.
I live on Sycamore Lane, right
Okay.
behind Jean's Farm Market. Been there over 28 years. I got a few questions and concerns, and one of them being I'd like to see a study on when these things are placed, what happens to the property values around them.
Okay.
Okay. Also, you had mentioned that if there is any ongoing smell from this, that is my major concern. I have a 12-year-old daughter who is very allergic to a lot of things. I've been back there, like I said, for 28 years and love the solitude of it. I don't want to see a change. I don't want to see that I can't use my backyard with my children because of what's happening up at Jean's. And I'm going to leave it at that for now.
I see Brett is feverishly writing something down. I do know I have seen some studies. I don't remember exactly what they said off the top of my head, but I believe that most of the ones I saw were positive. But, you know, that could be just stuff that I glazed across. But I'm sure Brett will look into that, as will I. And if you find anything, you can send an email to me, to all of committee.
Okay.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Michael Smith, 2006 Sycamore Lane, resident for 40-plus years, which was formerly Cherry Lane Estates. The issue, I have no qualms about free enterprise. I have no qualms about marijuana at all. But something resonated with me when I saw the name of the dispensary on the Black Horse Pike, Happy High, and I thought to myself, you know, this is the gateway to Hamilton Township. There's something just didn't resonate with me. Then I got to think more about the issues, and I thought about the idea that they're getting their foot in the front door. This is a growing industry, and I think we all know that. And there's like 27 acres, I believe, 26 acres there. I think that this here is not really conducive to the whole idea of what we have in that area. That is the Great Egg Harbor watershed. I looked up the mission statement of the Great Egg Harbor Watershed Association. Very interesting. If you just read it, it would be worthy of us to just consider the impact that it eventually will have in that area, not just on the quality of life for the humans, but the natural resources and what have you. I just want to put out some food for thought, and not just this committee, but the planning boards and other appointed committees to consider in its totality where this may go. And it seems obvious to me where they want to go with this, with the acreage available. But I must point out, we're only yards away from the river, just yards away from the river. And being there like 47 years, I'm well aware of how quiet it is there, I'm aware of the wildlife that's there, the birds, what have you. So I just want, if the committee and the people in powers to be would seriously consider that area as a gateway to Hamilton Township, and the eventual growth that it would produce, I'm quite sure, it seems obvious to me, that should be taken into consideration for any future thoughts or decisions that have to be made. Basically, that's just thoughts off the top of my head. And, but I really would, at some point in time, like to read the mission statement of the Great Egg Harbor Watershed Association. That's all. I just wanted to bring to your attention there are other issues to be considered besides the quality of life of humans. The whole area is a watershed area. Very interesting read on what it has with our natural resources and the potential what we're going to have as far as I consider 322 a gateway to Hamilton Township, and maybe the committee should think about that also. An entrance way to what we're trying to get people to appreciate, if you will. And basically, that's all I have to say. Just food for thought.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, folks. My name is Allison Hesser. I, too, live behind Jean's Farm Market, 2007 Hemlock Lane. I have my whole life, and my mom here also has owned there for 32 years. So we have our roots there on Hemlock Lane. And so it's a really quiet community. And I think one of my issues of living there, and I do watch my meetings every Monday that you guys are on YouTube, Weymouth is a kind of secluded. And I feel like a lot of decisions are made without considering that we too live there, we pay taxes, and we enjoy being a part of Mays Landing, just a little bit further away. And so I think, Mr. Sambrone, my comment is actually for you. So I can't tell you how many times I've had to call the police department to get some coverage out into our neighborhood. We have people who speed, drag racing in the neighborhood. And so we don't have a lot of police presence. I do ask about it often, I do have to say. So one of my concerns with getting the burn factory in our neighborhood would be that we should have a greater police presence in the area, especially as I take care of my nephew for a good chunk of the year. And so I'm not crazy again about the name of the burn factory. I hate to have a play date and say, yeah, I live behind the burn factory, but I just want to take ownership now of our neighborhood. We love it, we take pride in it, it's a beautiful place. But I would just ask for a little bit more help from the committee, from the township. And I think that starts with police presence, especially if we're going to have that type of facility in our neighborhood. I want to continue to say that that's my neighborhood, and I don't live in the burn factory's neighborhood. And so I think I want to put a heavy emphasis on that. It's a beautiful place to live. Again, I love being here. Given the opportunity to stay here, I definitely would, in the same house that I was raised in. So I just want you to think about that, and especially if you get the chance to, come out. It's really a beautiful spot. It's definitely not like downtown. There's a lot of things to be proud of there, and I want it to continue to be like that. So please consider that when you make your decisions going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Thomas. I live on Harley Avenue. I have a terrible dust problem. It's a dirt road between all the dirt bikes and the motorcycles and the Jeep clubs and all. I have to power wash my house at least once a month. I was wondering if something could be done with the road. The potholes are so bad, I gotta take the shoulder of the road to go out to the highway. And I would appreciate it very much if some maintenance was done with it, because the dust is terrible. I have to
Brett's
wash my-
feverishly writing it down now.
It's the dirt side of Harley off of Route 40, correct?
The dirt
Okay.
side, yes. I have to wash my car and truck at least once a week. That's how bad it is. And I appreciate any help. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down.
Speaking of redevelopment,
Name?
Jim Kerrigan. Speaking of redevelopment, there's acreage on West Oak Street. If Jim Malley wants to look into that, Block 863. In fact, I tried to buy Lot 19, but I had to put the road through, so I couldn't buy it.
Okay.
So Jim Malley wants to take a look at that. Land is owned by Oak Realty in New York City. And, not far from Times Square, down the street, I guess. 42nd Street.
Do they want to sell it?
We'll sell it to the right buyer, but the land is not really for sale.
Do you want to buy it?
But they had it for many years, so.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hear a motion?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. We're going to adjourn into executive session?
Are we
Correct.
coming out? Any chance we're coming out? We will not be,
We will not be coming
I
out.
don't think so.
okay.
We will not be coming out.
Me to read
Make it-
first or second?
Go ahead, read it first.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matters which are exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. Resignation of Steve Roberti, personnel. Be it further resolved that the governing body will not reconvene in public session to confirm the results this evening. Be it further resolved that the results of the executive session shall be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential.
I make a motion to close this meeting. And
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Meeting's closed. I make a motion, we go into executive, well, we got to wait till everybody leaves.
That's all right, we can do it as one.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
We're good.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Very good.
I'm counting the first one.
So is everyone leaving?